This is the weapon shop, Ammo Nights. The store owner is Sheldon. This horseshoe crab is pretty much obsessed with all things military. Get him talking shop and he just won't stop. But his knowledge of weapons is definitely top-notch. A word of caution, however. My research assistant tells me that the variety of weapons and gear available at shops will improve as squid level up. Next, I'll lecture on some weapons his shop carries. There appear to be three major types of ink-based weaponry. For rapid-fire inking, look no further than the shooter. For long-distance projectiles, there's the charger. And to squash opponents while spreading ink, say hello to the roller. Now, let's review the signature weapons of each type. This is a standard sort of weapon. It shoots rapid-fire bursts when the button is held, allowing squid to quickly cover a large area. With this weapon, the careful inkling will be well equipped to claim turf or take down foes. One such weapon is called the Aerospray MG. It fires quick bursts, so its user can hose down a relatively large area in a short time. Speaking of short, it's a short-range weapon, so it'll make quick work of nearby targets. Next, I'll show you the Jet Squelcher. It has the longest firing range in the shooter category, making it a fairly effective sniping tool. The last shooter of the day is the Blaster. It shoots bullets that explode into ink. Enemies may be caught in the blast, but a straight shot will easily wipe them out. Next, let's examine the Charger. This type of weapon requires a short charge, but then it'll dump ink everywhere in one massive shot. It's perfect for soiling distant enemies, or for splattering the land in linear fashion. This charger is the E-Liter 3K. Its charge is fairly time-consuming, but its firing range is impressive. This is really going to be... Yeah, that had to hurt. Relatively speaking, of course. Ouch again. This next one is the Splatter Scope. Some chargers like this feature a scope, making it easier to aim at distant enemies. Last, but definitely not least, the Roller is a great weapon for advancing forward while marking turf and steamrolling opponents. Shake the roller and it will spread ink all over, splooshing any foe in an Inkling's perimeter. Sploosh. The Dynamo Roller is a prime example. It's a tank of a roller that chugs along slowly while deflecting incoming fire when shaken. The three types we just showed you are all main weapons, but there are sub-weapons and special weapons too. Together, a main weapon, sub-weapon, and special weapon make a set. To Squid, selecting a weapon set that suits one's battle style is of pinnacle importance. Sub-weapons consume a relatively large amount of ink. The amount depends on what type is used. There are 9 sub-weapon types, including some gadgets and support tools that have the scientific community geeking out. One fine example is the suction bomb. It sticks to walls and other surfaces, exploding shortly after. Now, for a different thing that goes boom, try the burst bomb. It may not be as powerful as others, but it explodes on contact and uses less ink, allowing an Inkling to throw them in rapid succession. The point sensor is a support tool. It doesn't attack, but it does locate sneaky enemies and shares that information with all teammates. The ink mine is another type of sub-weapon. It's invisible to opponents when it's on the ground, detonating after a certain amount of time, or automatically when enemies pass by. The Squid Beacon is handy too. Set one down and teammates can super jump straight to it. And finally, the Disruptor doesn't damage rival squid, but it will slow them down a bit and lower their abilities as well. Special weapons are perhaps the most intriguing of all. They can only be used after filling up a gauge by covering the ground with ink. The ink strike defies reason. Touch a location on the Wii U gamepad map, and a rocket will be shot there, creating a fearsome ink tornado. The echolocator is great for locating enemies. For a limited time, it allows an entire team to see their foes' locations. The bubbler is pretty self-explanatory. It creates a protective bubble that deflects enemy attacks. Get near a teammate, and they'll get bubbled too. And finally, the Kraken can turn an inkling into a giant invincible squid. For a while anyway. So, let's see. A main weapon, a sub-weapon, and a special weapon. It seems squid always go into a turf war with a set of these weapon types. But squid battling proficiency isn't just about weapons. Let's take a look at the area outside Booyah Base to find out more. Inklings like to gather here because they're drawn to happening events. These particular squid are other players encountered online or via Miiverse. But if Inklings are one thing, it's fashionable. They've developed several brands of couture and enjoy mixing and matching styles to create their own unique look. Studying the different types of gear squid use offers some fascinating insight into their strategies. If a squid sees something they like, it can be special ordered. A closer look reveals icons on this gear. These denote what I like to call abilities. Each piece of gear comes with abilities that can power up an inkling. There are many types of gear abilities. For example, if a piece of gear increases ink efficiency, the lucky inkling who has it equipped will consume less ink than usual when using a main weapon. Other abilities include damage up, defense up, and speed up. Plus, more curious ones like the ninja squid and stealth jump. The number of abilities each piece of gear can have is based on its star count. The more stars it has, the more slots it will have. Up to 4 abilities can be equipped per piece of gear. However, other than the first one equipped, abilities are assigned at random. Frequent usage of the same gear apparently generates more abilities to equip. In this way, squid can level up a piece of gear to enhance its strength or make up for its weaknesses. And so, gear combinations can improve one's strategy. By the way, I suppose I should explain who this mysterious fellow is. His name is Spike, and somehow he can increase the number of slots allotted to gear. That said, one can't make a request without a super sea snail. And it won't always be easy to acquire one. If one does take advantage of his services, it may be possible to optimize the abilities of every single piece of gear. Oh, and remember, gear ordered in the plaza can be picked up from Spike. Wait, did you see that? It looked like a peculiar old man was peeking out from that manhole. Or a squid hole? Aha! Let's see what happens. Oh my! Science, you've outdone yourself! Who could have imagined something like this existed underneath Inkopolis? I've heard this old manfish's name is Captain Cuttlefish. Likes ordering inklings to battle with octopi, it seems. And maybe it's the outfit, but that inkling actually seems to be taking his orders and prepping for battle. Man, squid really are suckers. What's this? A tea kettle-like thing? If my calculations are correct, and I assume they are, that tea kettle is somehow connected to the octopi nest. No, you brave fool! Don't go in! Science tells us that the natural nemesis of the squid is the octopus, or in this case, the octarians. But octopi will do. It seems that Captain Cuttlefish has ordered the inkling to take back a zapfish stolen by the octarians. There are many types of these octopi, and they'll use whatever arms necessary to stop the Inklings. They do have plenty to spare. Just look at all those gadgets and gizmos and thingamajigs. To survive them, Inklings must shoot ink in human form and use their squiddy navigation prowess to circumvent them. Sneaky little suckers. With Captain Cuttlefish's expert advice, they may just take back that zapfish. Depending on their location, some octopi may move like squid when they attack. Or they may be a bit more powerful. Worse, gigantic weaponized squid boss, anyone? My research indicates that items can occasionally be found in the middle of an area. For instance, this armor increases an Inkling's durability. Looks like there are other helpful items too, like the bubbler or other special weapons. And these little things are scattered all over. They're called power eggs. Apparently, power eggs power up your weaponry. For this reason, it's a good idea for any squid worth his tentacles to collect as many power eggs as possible. However, of all the items out there, we at the Squid Research Lab are most interested in these, the sunken scrolls. One scroll is hidden in each stage, and each one reveals another piece of this world's mysterious past.